Ho! What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Ask Paul, the podcast where you get to ask me, Paul Abernathy, anything you want about the National Electrical Code, life in general, maybe something about contracting, bidding. Maybe you're having troubles with employees. Maybe you're trying to hire employees. Maybe there's something that you just want to ask and you need somebody to give you an opinion. And I'm willing to opine on just about anything. Remember, all you have to do is go over to paulabernathy.com. Paulabernathy.com is the portal for you to be able to ask your questions to me. If you're a fast track student, that's another way to ask questions. Just let me know you're a fast track student so that you go to the top of the list. So my screeners, if you will make sure that you do go to the top of the list. But again, that is the best location to send me questions and things like that. So go visit it at paulabernathy.com. All right, on today's episode, we have had a request from somebody, and I'll pull it up on the screen for me to be able to read more accurately. And we'll discuss it today. And you're going to hear more and more about today's topic, which is no-brainer. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence and how it can help the contractor, how it can help you, electricians, plumbers, mechanical guys, roofers, home inspectors, municipal inspectors. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but I'm also going to focus on things that AI can do to help you run your business. Can kind of make you it's kind of like hiring a marketing expert for your company without having to pay the money for a marketing expert. Today, things have changed so rapidly in how AI or artificial intelligence, a trained model of information. Okay, it's just not pulling this information out of the ether, right? It's actually coming from sources that are typically being screened now that we're getting more hypersensitive about things that are put out into the public domain, but it's screening this information and bringing it back in certain programs or certain projects like ours with TradeHog. What we're doing is we're scrubbing that information, making sure that it is validated and very relevant to whatever our topic is. And of course, we focus on construction codes and standards, right? But there are other AI models out there that are pretty generic that can cover a wide range of things that maybe TradeHog can't cover. Like the Chat GPT is a generalized open AI model that actually is great for asking generic things like just the everyday why is the world round or why is the world flat type of questions, but it doesn't do the best job at individual tasks for the construction industry. But we want to talk about how AI can help you in both of those realms. Now, one of the things that we'll be doing, and I should say this to many people, is TradeHog. Let me let people know what that is, because this is the crux of the question. So the question that was asked to me said, Paul, I'm hearing a lot about TradeHog. In fact, it was brought up today in one of our business meetings, and we're interested in TradeHog. I have been tasked to ask you all about TradeHog, what it can do, how it can benefit us, and where is it going when it comes to AI in the construction industry. Thanks in advance. Love your podcasts. Keep up the good work. Okay, that was the email that I received, and so it came at perfect timing because, understanding the general contractor, the tradesman, right, has no idea what really AI is. Now, we have the savvy folks that spend a lot of time on the internet. They read things, they know. But the mom and pops, the general people that have the boots on the ground, they don't understand what AI is. They don't understand how that could even remotely help their business. So we want to kind of shed some light on that for those that happen to are savvy enough to actually listen to our podcast, which, by the way, is available on all of your favorite podcast listening platforms, whether it's Spreaker, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Just search for Master the NEC podcast and you'll find us. But you can also listen from our mobile app. It's free. Just go to our website, fasttracksystem.com. You'll see it in the navigation. You can get it there. But you can also go to a separate website that's sponsored by Wix as well, and that is NECCHAT. That's NECChat.com. and you can go there as well and download it. And it works on a desktop, but it's ideally created for your mobile device. Okay. And there's a lot of calculators in there. There's a chat feature. There's a message board in there. There's a you can listen, you can read the blogs in there, but you can listen to all the podcasts in there. So I guess that's the most important part is you can listen to all our podcasts and stream it to any Bluetooth device. Okay, when you listen when you're in your shower, I listen to a lot of podcasts in the shower. I have one of those Bluetooth speakers that I put in the shower, and then it connects to my phone, and I play it on my phone, and I can listen in the shower. Okay, I listen to a lot of entrepreneurial podcasts and things like that. I'm a podcast guy. Okay, I do videos, but at the end of the day, podcasts are what I love the most. It catches me whether I'm traveling. I'm in the car, I'm working on the job, I can have the earbuds in or doing something and listening to a podcast. So again, it's, people say, are podcasts dying? I don't think so. I think it's as busy as we get. It's just a good, unique way of getting information and being able to listen. Okay? So anyway, we want to talk about the AI a little bit and talk about it. So I kind of want to give a little introduction, a little bit about AI. And the power that AI is going to actually bring to the construction trade if you embrace it. And we're not talking in an essence of simply pushing TradeHog to people. Okay, I'm not in this episode. That's not. We're talking AI in general for the construction industry. Although I have to tell you that since we own TradeHog and we have created that model and we're actively training that AI model, that we're relevant, I have to talk about it. Okay, so people say, Paul's just advertising. Well, I am in business, but we're talking about AI in general today. So one of the things that we have to understand about artificial intelligence is the AI an actual research tool or an automation tool? And the answer to that is it can be both, because you can use artificial intelligence in industry to automate processes, whether it's to run reports or to do certain tasks. That's considered AI. But the research is what we focus more on, is being able to take our everyday tasks. It's not going to replace us as a contractor, okay, right? AI is not going, we're not going to have these little robots going around wiring houses. I know you can say, well, never say never, Paul. Okay, whatever. I'm just saying in your lifetime and in my lifetime, that ain't happening. So let's focus on our lifetime, right? Okay, we can get rid of the plastic straws, but again, let's worry about our lifetime, okay? So in the sense of us and being very selfish about our needs, because again, we're here. When we're dead, we're dead. Let's be real. Let's stop being a little tree hugger and let's get to the truth. It's about us and our family and taking care of our business and growing and having all the dreams that we sought out to get. So in doing that, how can AI help that? Well, I see the biggest model for an AI tool like TradeHog is research. If I'm sitting in a situation where I need credible information that is what we call logically broken down into code references and examples that is validated, that if I'm a plumber, electrical, roofer, mechanical guy, HVAC technician, an inspector, a home inspector, I need that information quickly. I'm getting paid by the hour. I'm getting paid per project, or time is money, right? We hear that all the time. Time is money. So when it comes to AI as a research tool, to me, is more in tune with the construction industry, not the automation. Now, back in the office, it may help automate certain functions and certain tasks, and that's doable, okay? There's AI models that can help do that, run reports automatically, if you want to call that AI. But it's artificial intelligence thinking logically in the background based on data points to spit out information that you're requesting. Now, as a contractor, and I have been a contractor, I was a contractor for many years, I get tons of questions. Now, as an NEC consultant today, I can tell you I get hundreds of questions a week that people could literally answer themselves using TradeHog. I'm just saying. Some of the questions I get, you could literally plug it into TradeHog and get your answer, and it be reliable. Now, I always recommend that anytime we're doing research, whether it's using an AI tool like TradeHog, that we always validate that information. And you've heard me say this over and over again. You know, when we give you a course material, we're not reinventing the wheel. Code is code. It comes straight out of the code book. Okay? We're just putting it in a way that's palatable, that you can read it, logically feed it to you, give you a process of how you learn, and allow you to validate. Same thing with AI resources. Okay? It's all about validation. So it may give you a code reference. It may give you a standard reference. And our model is tuned to look at UL, ASTMs. It's designed to look at NEC, NFPA 72, ASTMs, ANSIs. It's designed to look at these models and bring you back relevant information. Shit, it even looks at ADA requirements if you ask it to. And so the reason behind this is to give you the references to then stop and still go validate it. I want you to still go to the code book. We're not trying to replace the code book, but we're getting rid of that time that you lose with ineffective research techniques. So you go straight to, in our case, TradeHog, put in the question, and again, crap in, crap out. So you've got to really be in tune with how you write the question. And we give you some examples on TradeHog how to write questions, but you do it, and then it gives you the results. Now, if the results give you a certain thing, it allows you to ask a follow-up question. That's why we talk about it, and we call things like Chat GPT. It's chat because it intuitively wants to have a communication, because it learns from the communication where you're at. And so we do the exact same thing, okay? And we'll talk a little bit later how ours differs from the generic Chat GPT, but it doesn't mean that it replaces the need. These are just expenses that you add to your business function. Where it used to be marketing fees, this, you're now at a very cheap rate are getting some of the best employees that you could ever have that are never going to talk back. They're going to work 24/7. The only thing you're paying is a monthly fee, and they're always there to work for you. Always there to work for you. And I'm going to show you how it works hand in hand. So AI is driven to perform, like TradeHog provides instant access to critical knowledge so that you can make a decision on the job critically at the right time, at the right moment, and have a high level of assurance. That's what TradeHog's all about. The challenge that people face with AI is the accuracy in real-time answers in the field, and can you trust these? So for us, it's been a challenge. Now, TradeHog is fairly new for us. We're writing the back-end algorithm. We're using OpenAI's source as well as Gemini from Google, and now we're also using AI Assistant, and we're feeding in constantly putting documents in the feed loop in order to have it pull from it. Now, we've had to pay significantly for this because when you start out, you don't get a lot of access. So you have to deposit quite a bit of money into OpenAI in order to get access to certain tiers. And we're at the next to highest tier, and we had to pay for that. And that means that we open up and remove certain restrictions to allow our model to be able to be fed with additional information. And we don't mind doing that because that's an investment that we're making in it. We believe in the AI concept. We believe that it's going to help the industry. And I believe at this point, most people have removed the fear that AI is going to take their job, because it's certainly not going to take electricians, plumbers, mechanical guys, home inspectors, and it's never going to take your job, guys. But it can make your life a little easier, and I'd rather work smarter than harder. I'm just saying. Now, AI's role in bridging the knowledge gap for professionals versus an inspector is where TradeHog, for example, is going to really shine, because TradeHog is going to allow the inspector to put in certain things that they may not necessarily have the deep trade knowledge as the electrician, whereas the electrician may not have a deep knowledge of inspection practices. So it's going to allow the melding of your profession and what you do and what you're good at, and being able to ask questions that's going to pull from other things and look at it from a much higher perspective and pull back the data from data points that you may not have even considered. Okay, so we train this model. And so what makes it different So what makes TradeHog generally, the first thing we'll say, different than a generic ChatGPT is that the generic ChatGPT is only pulling from generic information. It still may bring back an answer, but it is what we call a wishy-washy response. Now, a wishy-washy response is where its temperature level is set that it brings back a response that may be not geared technically accurate, but brings back opinions that maybe differ through the resources that it pulls from, which is the internet and other published documents and let me tell you, experts have put out a lot of documents that are very reliable. I mean, you buy the books, so you know it's reliable, but there's no way you can read all these books. Well, the internet can, and their resources are vast. The problem is it pulls back, ChatGPT pulls back such generic information that it sometimes becomes wishy-washy. And I've shown an example on some videos where as I compare it to TradeHog, it brings back the wrong answer in ChatGPT. And then I ask it a follow-up question and it goes, oh, that's right, you're correct. Well, all GPT models should do that, okay? If you can show them something, because it's constantly learning. Now, the difference in ours is that we're feeding it additional information that is very specific to the NEC, to the IPC, to the IRC, okay, the UPC. That we're feeding it specific models to try to bring back good, accurate information and not looking for the genericness. Now, what makes it challenging for something like us, as for TradeHog, for example? Is that, the NEC is a tough document. Take the NEC, the IPC, the IMC, the ADAs, the ASHRAEs. Those are tough technical documents. And one of the biggest benefits of something like TradeHog or an AI model that's tuned into these type of things is that you can ask it questions about certain things like fire-resistant ratings versus a fire-rated assembly. And it is geared towards looking for the information that is specific rather than give you a bunch of jargon that may be conjecture out on the internet between maybe something that was pulled from message boards where you can get conflicting information. If you train the model correctly, as we're doing with ours, we're very hyper-focused on something specific to the trade, okay? So that's very specific that we focus on. So that's one way to do it. But because of the complexities of these different standards, it really takes a generic ChatGPT out of the game when it comes to that. So that's where TradeHog came from, okay? The other issue is that we are feeding in things like manufacturer's instructions, manufacturer guides for certain applications. And one great example of this, though, we did a sample test the other day where is a ground screw in the metal box required to be green? Can it be brass colored, black? It doesn't matter. Color, really. Can it, or does it have to be green? Well, the generic, regular $20 a month smart, version that you're paying for of the ChatGPT said that no, you can't use it. It has to be a green colored screw. Well, we know that's not true, because 250.8 of the NEC makes it very clear that it just needs to be a screw that's designed where it engages 2 full threads. There's no listing for screws for grounding and bonding. They don't go through an evaluation process. So at the end of the day, it was misleading information. And when you told the ChatGPT this, it corrected itself and says, oh, you're right. Well, our model is attempting to remove that misleading step that could make somebody stop and say, oh, I guess that's gospel. I'll stop right there. I won't dig deeper. So it's not going to be perfect, but our model is constantly learning. And part of what we do is keep training it, changing the prompts, changing the way it works in the background constantly in order to make sure that it is as reliable as we can get in the field. And that's what the other difference is too. TradeHog is designed for in the field. It's designed to be within your technician's pocket on their phone. It's designed to be on their tablet. While it can be used as a desktop, and that's how we're sometimes using it, it really shines for use out in the field for the technician. To be able to make split-second decisions. It's also a great troubleshooting tool. You can put in certain things that you're experiencing troubleshooting issues between transformers or panels. If something's not right, the voltage is not right, and you can feed it, and it's designed to be looking for things technical rather than generic. That's the best way I can say it. That does not mean that there is not a market for a generic chat GPT in your life. There absolutely is. So where TradeHog is really designed for the field professional, back at the office, what you've got is somebody that needs to ask generic questions. And they need to ask generic questions about contracts, need a tax help, or any type of stuff that there is a vast amount of information on the internet and from published documents that are accurate. Tax questions typically get pulled from things like TurboTaxes and QuickBooks and all, because their information's public, and IRS documents and all this stuff is out there. So the generic chat GPT has a focus that can still help you run your business. Generic chat GPT is brilliant when it comes to asking it to write things for marketing or publications or letters or articles. Whereas TradeHog is more geared towards the trades. Now, I will tell people that we are introducing next week. TradeHog is going to have a separate portal built in for generic questions that aren't related specific to the trades. So rather than pay $20 a month for a chat GPT that brings generic information, we're going to be introducing a generic portal for use in asking things like business contracts and all that kind of stuff that would be office back-end specific. And that's going to be available on TradeHog as well. And that's going to be available to all of our paid members, whether you're in the basic or the premium. You're going to have access to it. So I think you can see that we see the benefit, but we also want to train that as well. In other words, we don't want it to bring back, ask it a question about something and it bring back something that's totally off the wall. So we are building a model that is going to be accessible to all of our members, that is going to be used from the back end, from the office. So maybe you can get an account for your assistants or people that work for you, or that type of thing. We're going to be doing that. And so they will get access to that type of model rather than the technical model. Because we feel that you shouldn't pay Chat GPT and not get a very technically specific model, but a very open and high-tuned model for the electrical, plumbing, mechanical, to have it analyze things like contracts and look at documents, look at technical documents and pull out the summaries, all those type of things that we can tailor in the back end for our members. And so that's coming next week. I have not announced that yet, but you're hearing that first here on the pod. So we're giving you more. So rather than pay Chat GPT's $20 for their intelligent model, you always want to use the most intelligent model. Rather than pay that, we're going to give you that. We're going to give you a high level, and it's going to be fine-tuned for your industry. But we're also going to give you access to our normal TradeHog, which is very technical for your girls and boys out in the field. Okay, your men and women. Okay, it's an easier way to say it. So I think you see how we're expanding ours, because we do understand the importance. A lot of articles can be written. There's a lot of marketing. If your company's doing blogs, or you say, I've never done a blog before, let ChatGPT do your blog that you can share your newsletter with your members. There's so much to make your life so much easier with AI in running your business. You can ask it tax questions. Again, it's not a tax accountant, but it pulls from a database all over the internet, and you've got a resource of things that it pulls from, and we will be fine-tuning that so that it pulls back relevant information, and we can control that, by the way. It's all about the temperature of the conversation in the back end. So that's exciting that we'll be able to offer that to our members. Okay, so that's just a perk that we're going to have for that. Okay, but there is so much stuff that you can use the non-technical, like TradeHog is technical. Okay, So the other is basically going to be for everything else, contract review. And that brings me to the next thing that's important about AI. I don't know if y'all have noticed this, but in our demo that we have on TradeHog.net, to the left of the input area, there's a little, looks like a little paper clip. So this is an example of where you can snap a picture in the field of the installation of the label on a piece of equipment in a panel or something about it you don't understand. You snap a picture of it and you upload it into TradeHog and ask it to analyze this picture and pull out the key code references or key points or summarize it or explain this. It will actually look at the image and it's just incredible. It can look at the image and then tell you exactly what's in the image and how it is. This is amazing technology because there is an awful lot of labels and things that people read that they just don't understand. You can even scan things that are in one language and have it translated into another language. These are things that, to be honest with you, there is so much in technical jargon that people just don't understand. And to have a tool in your pocket that can really break that all down for you is just, we charge $19.95 a month for our base model. It's less than a meal, okay, a nice meal. In fact, it's probably third of a nice meal. And it gives you this access to all of this. And you also get forums on the back end where you can post questions if you want to, chime in on questions, depending on whether you're a plumber, mechanical, building, whatever. That's ancillary. That's additional. If you want to use it, you can post a question for other people to review and look at. That's up to you. The real beast in this is the AI model. So, but yeah, that feature to be able to upload an image, snap a picture of a label. We did a test with it with a 4-way circuit, two 3-ways and a 4-way, and we took a picture of it and we had it and told us to explain this picture. And it went into detail about it. It went in how to do it. It was just amazing. And it's all from a picture. And so we're constantly working on that, constantly making it better, and doing things like that. So from a business perspective, ChatGPT offers great advantages for a business. And if you're an illustrator, it's great because it has a model that you can create illustrations and graphics. But the normal business owner that we're targeting doesn't need all that fluff. You're not going to create images that way. All right. And then the images aren't really tailored exactly to what you need. And you probably don't know how to do graphic editing. So it's pointless. But what it can do is can create your marketing campaigns. It can create your letters. It can look at letters and make them more professional. It can look at the punctuation on the letters. It can change the grammar to sound different. There's so much that it can do. It can create a marketing campaign. It can do podcast structure. It can do blogs that you can share in a newsletter. You can ask it to create a newsletter. You can even load in it text from some article you read and ask it to write an article very similar, but have it focus certain topics, and it will write this for you. Now, for those that say, yeah, but this is all just making us dumber, I disagree. I think what is happening here is that you're already immensely intelligent. If you're listening to this, you've either started your careers in the trades, or you're an owner of a company. You're already ahead of the curve, right? You've already made that decision. And if you haven't started your own business yet, this is a way to learn because you can ask key specific questions about business that are going to benefit you. And so we're going to be adding that module to our TradeHog. But TradeHog specifically is for the tradesman in the field. Okay, let's make that very clear. It's designed to bridge the gap of experience between somebody that's less knowledgeable in the trade but is being thrust in a position to make decisions, and those that have extreme experience but are in tunnel vision and can't think outside of the box. So what the TradeHog is going to do when you're in the field is when you run into those complex situations, you feed the hog, and the hog will bring back information. And if you like what you see and you see something else in there that you want to ask, you just do it. You ask it. You continue the conversation. And I think that at the end of the day, you're going to save money because you're not going to be doing things twice. You're going to be learning the codes. You're going to be learning applications because you can ask it application questions. And we have it tuned to be very specific. So we don't want it to just give you what if stuff. We want it to be very specific, but it is also trained on a logic model that's going to give you feedback. Okay. And so it's going to also, you can use this TradeHog to diagnose issues. Like I can ask it, why am I only getting this amount of voltage here, and explain what system it is and what could be the problem. And it will come back with information. Yeah, it actually will. And that's what TradeHog can do. It can help you diagnose things. If it brings back a code, for example, reference that you don't understand, then you could simply say, can you elaborate more on section whatever, whatever, whatever? And it will do that. And this saves you having to go out and get book after book after book after book and try to research these things. It's immensely powerful. And at the end of the day, it's not going to take your job. It's going to make your life easier. I have even asked, let me give you an example. I have even asked ChatGPT, the generic one, which again, we will have one on our website. We will have it on TradeHog for all members probably before the beginning of the week. We're working on that Monday. That generic one, for example, you could ask it, create me a one-page contract for my electrical contracting business, and it will create a contract. I have asked it before to create a privacy statement for my website, and I give it my website. It'll go look at your website. It'll pull back the information and give you a privacy statement that you can post on your website. Now, I'm a believer that anything that comes back when it comes to documents like that I proofread and check it, because sometimes I want to add personal flavor to it. But the interesting thing is you can ask and say, I did not like that version. Can you create me a new version and focus on this? And it will change it for you. That's the beautiful thing about introducing it into your business model, is it's going to save you marketing. It's going to save you creating copy material, reviewing copy material, making sure all your material is accurate, grammarly, properly done, the great structure. You can ask it to create HTML to put on your website. You can ask it to do so many things that there is no way it's ever taking the place of the construction industry. It's just going to enhance it. Now, with TradeHog, our biggest focus is making sure we have what's called smooth transition of data. And that means try to bring you back results that are more concise for the situation that you're asking about, with the hope that you're going to be able to type a response in order to filter it down if you need to, or if there's something that you need to ask about it, those type of things. That is the concept of what TradeHog is all about, and why we decided to invest in it and grow it, and why we're promoting it. The reason we're going to add the additional one is we want to make sure that we give the members who are subscribers extra benefit, because again, we want to get you away from purchasing things like ChatGPT. We want you to purchase TradeHog. We're very honest about that. But in that model, we want to give you everything that you could get from a ChatGPT for the same price. Plus, we want to give you the more enhanced one for the trades. So that as a contractor, and that's all we focus on, by the way, we're not trying to be ChatGPT. What we focus on is contractors. We focus on plumbers, mechanical, builders, anything in the trades. We want to give you the tools to bring specific technical questions to the forefront so you can answer them and resolve your issue. But we also want to give you another back end for you to be able to use it to create contracts, look at letters, review contracts, have it automatically review, upload your PDF and let it analyze it for you and say, maybe somebody gives you a contract and you want to take it and load it in. You load the PDF in and ask it to bring back the key summary of this contract, and it will read the contract for you and give you a summary. Believe it or not, folks, that's what we're doing. And it's just amazing. So there's no way that this is bad for you. In $19.95 is our best plan. That's the cheapest plan. The premium gives you a little more searches. But at the end of the day, the basic plan is what most people go with. $19.95 a month, I don't think you can go wrong, especially we're going to keep adding to it, and adding to it. And the price is staying where it's at. We're very comfortable with the $19.95 a month. Very comfortable with it. We think that it's going to be the best investment that you'll ever make. So let's end this kind of talking about AI growth. We're moving from general searches and search engines like Google's and all those type of things that are rampantly unreliable and can be gamed, if you will. In other words, if you pay a certain amount of money, you can be at the top of the search engine so you can be found. So we're trying to get away from a gamification of a search engine and being more field specific. And that's what TradeHog's doing. It's more field specific. We've also created an app that you can load on your phone. And so it keeps it centralized. And so that's kind of our focus. It's AI driven learning, and it adapts to the new codes, the materials, and everything that we feed into it. New technology, evolving changes to the code, all that stuff gets fed into the model, and it just gets smarter and smarter and smarter. The problem with search engine searches, and even with integrated AI, it's a very watered down generic response, and we're looking for very technical responses. It just is what it is. AI's impact on training and knowledge retention. AI is an on-demand mentor. It's always there. Whether you're an apprentice or a seasoned professional, it is always there to autonomously give you advice and make recommendations based on what you feed in, and it's going to analyze it and verify it and spit out logical data, okay? As Spock would say in the old Star Trek series, it's logical. And that's what it's going to be looking at. And it's up to us as good stewards of this AI modules to keep training it in order to make sure. So there will be constantly changing, and evolving our prompts. It'll be evolving our back end. It'll require us to make significant investments in the AI, open AI structure. We do not use DeepSeek, okay, which is a Chinese model, very intuitive model, but we don't integrate that. And we have no plans to ever integrate that because of data retention. But it also reduces the learning curve because you can ask specific questions to an AI model, right? So our very significant change that we're making is adding a second search module. And that search module is the generic module for contracts and all those other generic stuff. But when you need it in the field, you're going to use TradeHog. That's just the way we want to tailor it. But we want to give you the best of both worlds. Again, I always want to give you more. And so if you're paying $19 or $20 a month for ChatGPT, that's a very generic model, maybe you don't need all their other bells and whistles like DALL-E and all that for image illustration creation and all that. You're not into that. We're going to give you the answer to that. We're going to give you a very field-specific, code-referenced, supported, validated AI model, but we're also going to give you access to a wide-open, generic one that will tailor to the construction industry. Okay, we'll tailor it so that the responses don't bring back Willy Wonka type of stuff, that it brings back stuff that's very relevant to your trade or contract, how contracts are structured for the trades. And it's going to look at that type of stuff. But we're making that available as well starting next week to all of our members, that type of thing. Okay, so where's the future for the trades? Well, it's expanding access, city and state-specific codes. We're going to be feeding models in state-specific. That's going to help it learn even more. It's getting to the point where it understands natural language, understand the more precise answers that are spoken in a more logical flow. That's what we're working on. That's what our latest model tries to bring it back like you're having a conversation with a real person. That was a tricky one because you have to train the model a certain way to get that. And at the end of the day, we will continue to evolve the AI as far as our projects are concerned here at Electrical Code Academy. And we want it to always be something that is very knowledge-driven, decision-based, technically substantiated results for trade professionals. That's what we're trying to do, okay? So trade professionals don't need automation, okay? You need answers. TradeHog is being designed, and it's powered by AI, and we're using multi-model input or modality input and output to provide real-time trade-specific knowledge for electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians, inspectors, home inspectors. Really, what TradeHog is doing is it's serving as an intelligent research assistant, but it's helping bridge the gap between people that may be novice and professionals. At the end of the day, it's helping everybody make informed decisions in the field that's going to be better decisions for our consumers. Okay, they're paying good money. Doesn't matter whether it's your first day on the job or you've been there for 25 years. The customer doesn't care. The customer wants a good result, accurate result, and this is going to help you give them that. And ultimately, it's going to speak volumes for your company, so you don't have the simple mistakes that are made by the novice, and you don't have the professionals who aren't willing to think outside of the box. So it bridges the gap, and I think that's what TradeHog does, and I think that's what AI, artificial intelligence does, and that's how it can be brought into the construction trades without the fear that you're going to lose your job. It's not going to happen. For executives, it's going to make your job easier. For the apprentices, it's going to make your job easier understanding terminologies, codes, standards, how it's applied, applicability, all that kind of stuff. For the people that work in your company, the AI model that brings, not technical model, but the one that they use in their office, that one's going to bring the ability to have it write the contracts, proposals, estimates, be able to give you marketing material. It can analyze certain things that you feed into it. All of those type of things are just going to make your company better. It's going to make your field folks better. Everybody wins with AI. So let's not confuse AI with seeing the little robots walking around taking over humans' daily tasks. That's automation AI. That's different than what we're talking about in making our businesses run better, smoother, and more efficient, and get the answers we need quickly and accurately. That's what you use TradeHog for. Okay? All right, folks. Hopefully you got something out of today's podcast. I hope the individual that submitted it got what he wanted out of it. If you have any questions, you can always go to tradehog.net. Try it out. We have a free demo up there. You get to try it for a couple, questions if you want to ask it, whatever you want. Try to break the hog. Realize that it's a learning model. It will constantly, continually learn. I tell you, be very specific. If you try to break it by putting in jargon that it's not going to understand or slang that it's not really understood, then it's going to have a hard time because it's not geared toward that. You have to be a professional. You have to kind of think about how you ask the question and ask the question very specifically. I want this. Give me the NEC references for this, or the International Plumbing Code IPC references for this. Ask what you want, and it's going to always bring back the latest published edition of the codes or the standard. If there's an earlier edition, you just got to ask for it. Say, I would like the version for the 2017 NEC or the 2014 NEC. You got to remember that it is, as I've said before, crap in, crap out. So if you intelligently put something in structured for an answer, then you'll get an intelligent response. Okay? Always remember that with AI. It can't fix stupid, but can help mediate it. And so at the end of the day, I think it's a great thing for our industry. So check it out, tradehog.net. And remember, all those out there that are subscribers, you're getting a bonus because we're going to be adding that generic model in there as well, which makes the need to purchase a GPT pointless because you're going to get so much more with ours. And we're continually adding, and we have added the attachment feature as well. So check it out, folks. Till next time, stay safe. God bless.